Hello, this is Dan from ExecUtron Development Corporation. Today I'm going to show you how to configure and use the PIMS SigPad app that can be found on the Apple iTunes Store to work with your PIMS point of sale system, either the single user and or the client server version. Keep in mind that you have to have PIMS version 12.0.40 or greater in order to do this. Let's go ahead by configuring your PIMS system first. To do that, go up to the File menu and go to PIMS Preferences. Go to the Terminal Specific tab and press Configure PIMS SigPad. PIMS and PIMS SigPad have a one-to-one relationship to each other, meaning that each PIMS terminal is mated to a specific iOS device and its PIMS SigPad app. That way you can always make sure that your iOS device is signing the proper order at the proper terminal. To get started, and because it is terminal specific, you click Authorize PIMS SigPad on this terminal. By clicking that, this terminal will know that every time an invoice with a qualified payment type on it is run, either saved or printed, that it'll prompt for a signature. And the same thing with SROs, service repair orders. So to start, let's go ahead and check that. And again, this is just terminal specific. Here, I enter a password. This is a system password that will make sure that only your SigPads tie to your PIMS system and not somebody standing outside your door. And just enter a password in here. This is system-wide, and you'll be entering the same one in your SigPad app. And that's all I'm going to go over here for right now, and we'll get back to this. Let's go ahead and fire up your SigPad app on your iOS device. We're going to start with the iPad. As a note, the PIMS SigPad application is what's referred to as a universal app, meaning that it will work on both. The same app will work on iPad and iPhone. And iPod Touch. You don't need to download a separate one for those devices. The same app will work on all the devices and configure itself accordingly. Okay, let's go ahead and tap our SigPad. The first thing we'll do is go to Settings. This is where I enter the IP address of that particular terminal. In our case here, it's 10.1.10.14. I enter that here, and in access password, I'm going to go ahead and just enter the word test. I'll briefly go over some of the other controls here. Line weight. This is the thickness of your signature line. I personally prefer a line thickness of about 2 or 3, which would be this position right here. I'll show you what 2 looks like down here. We'll just kind of do some scrolling there. Date stamp. If this is on, what this will do is this will automatically stamp the signature with the date it was signed. Usually puts it in the lower left-hand corner of the signature. Probably a good idea to have on. Signature format. This is the graphic format that it's transmitted to PIMS in. I prefer PNG. This gives it a invisible background so that it'll blend into anything that you put it on. Voice prompt. This is optional. This basically allows it to prompt the customer with a voice saying. You have some voices to choose from, and if you want to hear what it sounds like, just click the little speaker. We'll go ahead and listen to Lucy.
Please sign at the line provided below.
Here's Graham.
I am ready for your signature.
David.
I'm now ready for your signature.
We'll just leave it at Lucy. Again, this is optional. You can leave it off. I'm goofy for this sort of thing, so I just try to put it in all apps. Down here, this is an optional area where you can display your company logo at the top of the signature page, or the initial page. It defaults to on, but we'll just save here. It just puts a placeholder here. So if you wanted to add your own, you would simply come up, click here, and select a logo from your library. Now when I hit save, you'll see that your logo's up there. You want to clear it, hit the clear button. If you want no logo whatsoever, leave it blank and turn this off. And when we save, there'll be nothing here. I'm going to go ahead and leave it with the placeholder. Now that we have both systems configured, let's go ahead and test it out. You can click on the Test Invoice with SigPad app. Here's the prompt window that comes up. You'll notice it's counting down. You have exactly 1 minute to sign. The same thing is on an invoice, an actual invoice, and the service repair order. So I'm going to go ahead and click Sign Invoice.
Please sign at the line provided below.
You'll see here the invoice number, various bits of information. This is your other charge right here, and the SigPad will adopt whatever you have in your PIMS preferences. In our demo here, we just have fuel charge. These are the terms and conditions that you can scroll through that you can configure yourself, and we'll get to that in a second. You'll also see it's counting down here. So let's go ahead and sign and accept. And over here you'll see that it's accepted, and here's our date stamp. We can also test the SRO. I click on it, hit the SRO.
Please sign at the line provided below.
Here's our information from our SRO, and we'll just sign, accept, and we'll write back at PIMS. So it looks like everything's configured right and working. Let's talk about some of the other fields here real quick. This is the tag that shows up at the bottom of the printed signature on both the invoice and/or the service repair order. I just entered, I agree to comply with the cardholder agreement. This is a standard tagline that you would use for running credit cards. If I check this checkbox here, use customer B name for tagline if available, this will put the customer's bill to name off of the order and the SRO at the bottom of the signature line. I'll go ahead and leave that off for now. Auto accept on receipt of signature. What this does basically, if this is checked, that the minute PIMS receives the signature, it will go ahead and accept it, make the dialog box go away, and continue to save an order or print it out. Most of the time you'd like to have this checked. For the sake of this demo, I'm going to leave it unchecked. Now up here you have your invoice and SRO terms. These are terms and conditions that you can enter that you saw show up over on your iPad. Now there's some tags you can embed here. Like here's the tag for payments block. This shows the different payment types that the customer used, in this case, on the invoice. To insert a tag somewhere, here I'll just give ourselves a couple of lines here. You can insert the stuff here. We've got card number, if they ran a credit card. Now this obviously would only show the last 4 digits. Approval numbers, grand total, customer name, and the name of your company from company info. Same thing with the SRO. The SRO has significantly more information you can show. It can show the various configurations you have for hot bin charges, purchase order numbers, for you Apple dealers, your GSX confirmation number, whether it's under warranty, repaired by, different bits of information from the technician like their diagnosis, and those will show up here as tags. So you can do it any way you like. Now that we have this configured, let's go ahead and run it for real.